What is up, everybody? It is your boy Drift. I am back with Shinobi. We are here for another Overnights podcast. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications if you guys want to join the night shift. Today, we are going to go ahead and recap all of the game shows. I specifically watched a majority of them for y'all. I know Shinobi peeked into some of them while he was doing some other things. I'm not sure he watched how many of them he watched, but I know he peeked into some of them. We're gonna go ahead and highlight some of the games trailers we're excited for, and just read off some of the games that got announced, like a list or off the list, so you guys know everything. Now we're not like professionals; we don't know like everything about all the games upcoming. We're like variety gamers, but we're not like hardcore. I'm gonna probably knock out 60 games this year. At least not me. He might. I know I'm not that type of gamer. I got like a handful of games. I'm gonna play a year, and then that's about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and let him do his intro, and then we'll go ahead and hop into the recast of all the shows.
What's up, y'all? Shinobi Radixan. Pretty much just do YouTube.
As always, his will be in the description below. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into the shows now. Is there a specific one you wanted to cover first, or you want to just go with the Sony one since we're Sony guys?
Up to you. I saw people react to the Sony State of Play and the Summer Games. So those are like the two that I like know most of. So up to you.
All right, we'll go ahead and hop into those. And then, fair warning, FYI, anyone watching this, today is the Destiny Server Slam for the last final update. And today, this morning of this podcast that we are currently recording, was the Nintendo 2 program thingy for their release of games. We did wait for it to be over to start recording this, so we have the list. And we were both busy earlier in the day. But yeah, we are going to cover that too. It's just this will be the most recent, or that'll be the most recent show, so we may have a little less details on some of the stuff. I personally only watched a few trailers. I sent Shinobi a trailer for something that I know he's probably super excited for, but that was really I only really watched the morning half of it. But yeah, so let's go ahead and hop into the PlayStation one first. We'll go ahead and talk about some of the games we were excited for, and I'll go ahead and pull up the list of all the games. Um, and I'll let Shinobi start. Was there a game that you seen that you were like most excited for from this?
Um, I mean, nothing like super crazy. It was a lot of stuff that like caught my attention rather than like, oh hell yeah, like I can't wait for that shit to drop. Like Ace Combat 8, which is like not something that I would think I would be like into, but it looks sick. Um, I didn't know that there were seven other ones before this, so this is the first time that I heard of the series. But that one looks sick. A lot of people was talking about Bancho, which is like the prequel for Dave the Diver, and I've only heard good things about Dave the Diver. I've always meant to play that one, but never have. Uh, but that one looked cool. It looked like a cool like kind of what was it like cozy game kind of thing. Um, God of War Luffy or Lofe, I think that's how you say it.
I believe so.
Um,
Yeah.
not I mean, I've never played a God of War game, so I'm not like super into the series. But Emily Hopkins, she's a harpist on YouTube. She did some of the music for it, which I thought was kind of sick. You know, when you see these like people that you just think, oh, like they're just doing content for the love of the game kind of thing, just because they like a certain topic. But on the back end, they're doing like some crazy shit like this. So I'd probably pick it up just for her, just to hear the soundtrack because she's like super dope. Um, Marvel Tokon. I'm not a huge like fighter game like enthusiast, but I like the way that this one looks. I like the Nihon inspiration and all that. So this one might be one that I pick up. I know for sure Miggy was talking about it, and I think Compa was Tony. Tony was talking about it. Uh, One that caught my attention, but I'm like, I feel like it's way too soon for me to be like, yeah, that's probably something I'll pick up. Was Kimuri? It is basically just K-pop Demon Hunters, but in Japanese.
Honestly.
But it just I don't know. It looks like it's not like polished enough. Like it's like very early on in its development. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not. Uh, or I hope I am wrong. Because if that's how it's gonna be, it's probably like a pass for me. But I do like the concept of going around and chasing yokai. Because there was a little bit of that in Ghostwire Tokyo, like with the side missions and stuff. And obviously, like the enemies were different yokai and stuff. So I like that just from the culture aspect of it. But it the concept caught my attention. The actual like gameplay and stuff, it's a little rough around the edges. Should probably like just keep an eye on it and see where it goes. But right now I'm kind of like leaning more towards like I'm probably not gonna get it. I'll probably watch somebody play it if somebody plays it kind of thing. And then Onimusha. I've heard of the series and I'm pretty sure I remember seeing this one like announced way back when. I could be wrong. I could have been, or I could be thinking of like one of the previous installments, but uh, they got the goat in it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about that because again, it's just like the cultural aspect of it that caught my attention. But overall, there's not like a game where I was like, oh yeah, that's like for sure an instant cop for me kind of thing. I mean, Wolverine, sure, but like we've known about Wolverine, so it's like nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I like some of the things you highlighted. I'll go ahead and hop into my half of the show. I actually watched the live show, like the presentation thing, so it was kind of cool. Um, I will say that the game that you highlighted first, Ace Combat, I felt like when they announced that one and the Ace Combat Zero version of it, so like the two games or whatever, the chat was kind of going crazy for that. That was probably one of the bigger highlights of it. Obviously, besides God of War, like once the title went live and the screen went black and everyone assumed that it was God of War, chat kind of went crazy. Now, it does suck that God of War now, after it's said and done, first off, cinematic was beautiful. I thought 20 minutes of uninterrupted gameplay was a perfect idea. Gameplay looked nice. I know they're adding mechanics that they haven't ever had in God of War, which is like aerial combat and strafe jumping and stuff like that. So they're adding like double jumps in the air and platforming, which is more of a niche thing for God of War. But um, overall, it was good. Again, I thought I would be more excited for the Wolverine thing as well. It was the opening thing. It showed some gameplay. I do like how bloody it is and the takedowns and things like that. I'm not sure how I like the direction of the game. From what I seen, it kind of seemed a little uninteresting. And reading about some of the plot that was leaked, it looks kind of like weird. I know Marvel is exploring Wolverine traveling to different eras of time, kind of to save mutants and stuff like that. So we'll see how that goes. As far as surprising things, I also think Way of the Sword was a really, really cool touch to show. We're also going to touch on that game because it also got ported into Nintendo. So that was kind of cool that's coming out for Nintendo right away as well. For me, I'll talk about some of the stuff I'm really, really excited for. Obviously, Phantom Blade Zero, the new trailer they showed again. We, have touched on this before. I'm really excited. I'm really anticipating this game to be really good. I think it's going to be really good. I can't wait to get it. That's probably the game I want to play the most out of all this. And then obviously Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis, with it being a remake, a reimagining of the first game from the PS, that just nostalgia, so it's also really good. And then now I'm gonna highlight some of the ones that caught my attention that I really knew nothing about, and then I'll hop into my last final touches on some of the stuff I liked from the thing. But for me, ones that really caught my attention was the DLC for No Rest for the Wicked. I just feel like MMOs are really taking over right now again. I feel like with the Diablo DLC, World of Warcraft, and one other game that I'm going to say right now that I feel like went kind of crazy. It's probably actually been one of the most anticipated hyped games that I've seen people talking about more than any other game, honestly. But yeah, No Rest for the Wicked DLC looked very cool. I love the change of gameplay, like the Elden Ring esque MMO type combat with your friends. I think would be sick. You're doing the same thing you're doing like in Diablo, dungeon diving, everything like that, but with more Elden Ring esque type fight scenes. It looks like, but yeah, the one game that I think that I felt like was probably most hype to me, and it's been the most talked about, is the new RuneScape. I think RuneScape Dragon Wilds looks really good. It's coming out to all platforms, and it's been a while since RuneScape has actually came out with anything, and they're literally adding like everything you can do in this. It's almost like a full-fledged MMO. So I know people are super excited about that game. And then I want to touch on some of the games, or one of the games that you talked about, which was the Marvel game. I actually was actually really impressed with that too, and I want to give a shout out to the people who make the game. I love that they're taking their own art style on the characters, like they're grabbing imaginated or imaginations versions of, famous comic characters and stuff, and some favorite fan favorite versions of them, but they're also adding their own touch to the art style and combat system, so they're not just uniquely ripping off like you know straight like copy and paste. Like their characters actually feel original to their game, even though they're already established characters. And then the final thing I think, I have to say, I think that the Raymond game that got announced, I thought was cool. I mean, I'm not really a huge fan of it, but I know that game is really popular. It seems that platformers are starting to make a comeback, which is really good. I think platformers were missing in the space, same as like fighting games. So hopefully this Marvel game does good. I feel like it's been a while since the fighting community's got a W game. So I'm really excited for those to get announced, or not announced, to get played and see how they do. But I was telling Shinobi I had a funny story with the Astrobot developer. I don't know who runs the thing. I don't know who runs the page for Twitter, but whoever that guy is, it's on site, dude. And I'm gonna explain more about this funny story. So obviously, State of Play, everyone knew the date was. We're waiting here to watch it, and about like this is probably like the morning of, so like 2 hours before all these random leaks started coming out for business acquirers that happened. And what I mean is that for those of you who don't know, Sensor Games was the people who made Sly 4 and other games or other iconic PlayStation remakes for Sony. And they had finally, originally back in the day, they got sold from being a console developer to Facebook Meta when Facebook Meta first entered like the gaming space. So they became a creator for Facebook stuff like games on Facebook and helping their streaming side. Well, they originally got acquired by a new company, and then they posted on their page. They started up their webpage and they featured games that they created, and they said in partner with Sony. And obviously, like on the home screen, their biggest game was Thieves in Time. So everyone's like, "Oh shit!" Like they just announced that they're in partner with Sony. They're displaying Thieves in Time, and then everyone's like, "All right, cool." You're giving people some hope. And then like about like 30 minutes before the show starts, I mean, now people are kind of just, this is a few hours now after they post this stuff or whatever, and people already have a little bit of hope. More and more people are starting to have more hope that we're gonna get a Sly Cooper thing. And then obviously, like every state of play, people always like post pictures talking about like, oh, these are the leak announcements, and it's always like the big ones like God of War on there. Sly, everyone sees Sly 5, and one of them got like some traction that it was a realistic photo that got leaked, so people started to believe more Sly 5 was coming. And then this is why I say the Astro guy is on site. Like 30 minutes, like I said, 30 minutes before the show, they tweet, if you're looking for Sly, you know where to find them by safes. And like it's the Astrobot kicking the safe, and the Sly Cooper Astrobot rolls out. And everyone's like, okay, if the Astrobot is showcasing the mascot for Sly, we got to get some sort of announcement during the show, because they're telling you to watch the show during this little cinematic thing that they're showing, and then we get no announcement for Sly at all. So now everyone's just on site with the Astrobot guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't think that it's ever gonna happen. I think they've kind of just like shelved it, and then it's. I mean, it is where it is.
Yeah, I also agree. So I mean, there might be a possibility that it comes out later in the year. I maybe they use this hype, to realize that they still have a fan base, and they move forward with it. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know. I'm also like, I don't get my hopes up as bad. I would like to get another one, but I'm not like crazy about it. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the next game show. That was the PlayStation 1. There's actually one more game that I want to highlight. I am not a fan of. I'm not sure I'll ever play. I don't really play these games, but I do want to talk about it because it's on multiple platforms and it's going to be on the other list. And that is Control Resonant. For those of you that like the Control games, Resonant is coming out, which is a sequel to the other one that came out. So if you're a big fan of that, there's another part two. That's going to be another list. So I might as well just say it now because I don't want to repeat it on the other ones because it was announced for other consoles or other things. But we'll go ahead and hop into the PC and Game Fest one because most of these games were also on the Game Fest thing. So we'll go ahead and hop into the PC one. Looking at the PC one, it's a lot of the same big games we're talking about, but there's some PlayStation one or PC ones that are pretty much only on PC right now that I'm going to talk about to Shinobi because I'm not sure he watched this and see what he has anything to say on it or not. But the big ones for PC is obviously League of Legends is getting a new character. We're getting a lot of the Warhammer update. Valheim, which is like the survival game, it's coming out of early access to 1.0. We have Power World with the full release of 1.0. I'm not sure if you watched the trailer for that. And then we're getting Grounded to Summer update, which is the Into the Abyss, which is the pretty much Subnautica competitor kind of. It looks like we're getting the pond in the backyard, and you'll be able to like scuba dive in the water and fight bugs under the water. So it's very much a competitor now to Subnautica. But the big um, PC one, before I let him give his opinion, is obviously Impulse, which is coming from the developers of Splitgate and some of the developers from uh, the dev team that made Titanfall, and they're making a Titanfall esque competitor, and that was the really big one from the PC showcase.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really follow those games, but I mean, it's cool that everybody's getting their little updates and stuff like that, even if it's not like a full like new game.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I think the Power World 1.0 looked really good. But it's nothing new. I mean, obviously they showed some new like pals and some new features, and it's obviously launching finally. It's funny that the game has been playable to everyone as long as you buy it, but it's been in beta this whole time. It is a successful game. Do not get me wrong. That game is one of the most successful survival games. It is just really hype. It still has hype, but it is nothing to be like, oh my god, like we kind of knew it was coming. We just didn't know when it was coming. So now we finally got some clearance on when it's coming. But don't get me wrong, the trailer, the cinematic was beautiful. I think that they're taking some new mechanics to the game. And I want to say this right now. PSA for those of you who do play Power World, they did announce that when the game launches in 1.0, with all the changes being made, because there's a lot of changes being made, this could be a good thing or bad thing for the game. They're saying that most of the changes are to like Pal's move sets, like finer details like the way they act, things like that. They're adding like a new weapon system that I'm gonna talk about during the trailer. That I will say, at least I think it's a new weapon system. It looks kind of cool, but they're this is the PSA though. They did say when the game comes out to 1.0 that you can remain on your old world and you can update it will update, but some of the features that they're changing will only be changed from a fresh start. They do recommend you starting a new world. I know that a lot of people have put thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of hours, even if it feels like in your world is like fully built. But they are saying it is something that think about that they think that the experiment or the experience would be better from a fresh start because they are changing early game, mid game, late game. They're changing what there is to do, so there's more in-depth things to do besides just the raids at the end of the game and the towers. So it's just a complete overhaul and update. It's a game that's changed the life pace. So you might want to maybe invest in starting a new server. That does suck, like I said, for some people who are like super grind, but it's also probably a way to re-fall in love with the game because for me, I know that I haven't touched Power in a while because I just felt like my world was super built and I didn't have nothing left much or nothing left to do. So I think this is like um, a rejoice type thing. Like I'll probably restart with the new updates and feel encouraged to want to like grind again or play more. But one of the things I seen in the trailer that I wanted to tell Shinobi because I'm not sure if you watched it or not. Is clearly there is a scene in the trailer, which I'll show him after this because I do want to show him after this, where he throws out a POW, which is like a swordfish looking POW, right? Like he throws this shit out, but then it like turns stiff into like a sword, and then he catches the
Yeah.
fish after it's like stiff, and he pulls the it becomes a sword. Like it actually becomes like the POW becomes like a weapon, and then it's very like Digimon esque, or very like Power Ranger esque. Like if you've ever seen like Wild Force, where they're like little like mascot thingies became their weapons. Like he literally threw out like this swordfish, and then it like turned into a stiff sword that he was able to open to use. So I'm assuming that there is a world now in the Power World update to where some of these pals will become usable armor or weapons on top of just being pals you control like Pokemon, which would be kind of cool. The sword part was kind of sick. Like I had to run that shit back. Like we, Vic and everyone were watching it, and we were like, "Wait, hold up! Did he just turn this fucking fish into a sword?"
Yeah, I did see that part. I mean, I think it's a smart move because it just adds an extra element and like an extra reason to go after like certain pals that maybe you like really didn't need, or they were kind of just like on like the side of not like the most efficient kind of thing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think actually that's a good point what you said. I actually agree with that. I think maybe finding value for less popular pals or like pals you wouldn't think of, like that fucking swordfish, because like I wouldn't catch that thing to use unless it was like to benefit. Like really in Power World, you catch things for one or two reasons. One, they're really good for raids or towers, just like Pokemon. Like you want a strong ice type to fight an electric type ETC, or they're just good for the raids at the end of the game. That's one thing. Two, they're legendaries. Oh, wait, I guess there's three things you catch Pokemon for, but two, they're legendaries like Frostallion or any of the other bigger ones like Jet Dragon, things like that that are just essentials. And three, the only time you catch monsters that are like not cool, or if they're like tier fours for your base. Like you want like a Yormantide for like your cooler, your efficient water stuff. You want I can't even think of monsters that's been so long, but you want like a tier four fire one to your so your furnace cooks faster. You need tier four gardening, watering, planting stuff like that for your base resources. I know you need like the fucking sheeps for like wool and stuff like that. Or that's like really the only time that there was ever like a reason to catch like niche ones was for your base. So I think this adds another element to going out there to getting pals that like could be interesting outside of just having them in your pal box. But yeah, that's Pal World. Like I said, PSA. If they are recommending you start a new server, I think it's a good idea. I think it'll revive the game in a way, or not revive the game because it's not dead, but it'll be a refresher, and a breath of fresh air to replay the game. I'll go ahead and hop into the Grounded 2 update because this is the big one besides, the game that we'll talk about last. But the Grounded 2 update is obviously just a pawn update. It is the same scenario as Power World to where this game has already been out. The only difference between Grounded 2 is that they integrate their upgrades, meaning that if you already have a world, the way that their map works, if you guys have been playing the game, is that certain areas are just blocked off with like construction tape, kind of. And usually, when the area unlocks, you kind of just update your game, get on, and that part of the map is now unlocked and explorable for your in game save. All their updates have been manually inserted to your server or world, so you don't have to go out of your way to change anything. They don't really make drastic changes to where like something is no longer in the game or out of the game. Besides like the holiday stuff that you can build, but like again, that doesn't like change core gameplay stuff. Like this is the difference between Power World and that game. Power World obviously is changing a lot of the core game mechanics that just are recommended to refreshly start your world. So don't have to worry about that in Grounded 2. The Into the Abyss trailer looked kind of cool. I roasted it a little bit earlier for saying it was a competitor for Subnautica 2 because it does really feel like that. Subnautica 2 just dropped before all these game shows, and it's obviously very popular. And now we're getting Grounded as version of a Subnautica because this is the first time that you can submerge yourself into the deep end of the water with like a whole ass submarine suit, kind of. Because in the trailer it shows the children walking at the bottom of the pond with suits on and a helmet on, and in the first grounded, there was swimming armor and you could swim longer, but like you just swam in the water for a little bit, like, and you had to swim around, and like the combat was like as you were swimming, so it was kind of clunky. But this one says combat 3.0 in the water, and from what we see in the trailer, you will be able to stand, like I said, at the bottom of the ocean or the pond, which is their ocean in their game, and fight while standing on the floor. So the combat will probably be different in this one. We're also getting like water bases and things like that, and a water buggy that you can ride. And we're obviously getting some new bugs and stuff that they didn't announce. And I know the Koi Fish Colossus is coming back. So a lot of things to be excited for Granted too. A lot of things to be excited for survival games in general. I feel like that was the majority of the announcements, and then obviously, like I said, RuneScape was also announced for PC, and then I think the last one we'll talk about real quick. I'll let him give it his opinion on the game. I don't know if he watched or not. Was Impulse, which is like I said, the Titanfall inspired game. I don't know if you've seen the game or not, or even if you haven't, like, do you think the idea of a small developer, especially the split game team making this, sounds intriguing?
I mean, small devs doing anything is always great. The fact that people can uh, still like feel like they have a place in not just like the gaming industry, but like in any kind of field to just go in and not necessarily compete with like the big fish and like triple A's and things like that, but kind of challenge them to be a little bit more like different or a bit more experimental with ideas. I did see the gameplay that you sent. I don't, it might just be me, but like I'm just not like for that like Call of Duty esque kind of gameplay anymore.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of like the grapples and stuff, just using like different equipment to be going around and stuff like that. I don't know if there's actually gonna be like mechs or if that like one mech is like the only thing.
No, there's gonna
If
be
it is, then
mechs.
I can just okay. Because I was gonna say if it's just the one on the map, then I can see everybody just like literally fighting for it just to say that they got it. It happens every time that they drop like one of those like limited time game modes in Apex. Like with the Gundam event, there was the Buster rifle. Like as soon as that dropped, like everybody kind of just like stopped what they were doing and then ran towards it to get it, kind of thing. But it looks fun. I feel like if you're still into that kind of like gameplay, that it's definitely something to keep your eyes on. Because I mean, I don't know how far they are into the development, but it already looks pretty smooth.
Yeah, I agree. From what I've seen, I don't want to be like a hater of the game, and I'm not like, I know it's getting a little bit of backlash because it's obviously from the devs of Splitgate. Splitgate wasn't so successful, um, and things like that. But here's my thing with this type of game or this specific scenario about this game specifically is that I am like you. I think that I am kind of past the whole like Call of Duty FPS, arena shooter um phase of my life, and I think it's a mixture of two things. I think one, I think that we haven't had a successful arena shooter in a very long time. That's been a big problem. And two, I think that the genre has changed so much that people want to recreate these nostalgic feelings, and I think it's to the point where I don't think that the game itself can be recreated or a game can be creative. It is the time period that can't be recreated. I think that you could release Black Ops 2 today, remastered, and I guarantee you that it would not hit. People would complain. It wouldn't hit the same way it hit back then. Like, I promise you that. Like, people swear and live by the game re-releasing today, it would solve everything. Yes, it probably would have a lot of players and it would be popular. I'm not saying that, but people like me, Shinobi, or people who have time has passed. It's not about the game. It's not more about the game that it is the reason or the thing we missed. At the end of the day, it's the community and the vibes and the time period that we played those games. That's more of what you can't recreate. And I think with Titanfall, specifically. I think everyone wants Titanfall 3. Everyone loved Titanfall 2. And I think if we ever get Titanfall 3 or this game is like anywhere close to a Titanfall game, I think people are going to realize that it's not the game that needs changing or to be revived. It's the time period of when we played that game that we won't be able to recreate. And it's also like Shinobi said, it's the taste of change. Like, now me, if I loved Titanfall when I was 16, for example, and I'm like, you're like 25 or some shit today, the 25-year-old you may sit there and try to play the 2016 or the 16-year-old's Titanfall 2, and your taste have completely changed. I think games like these, people need to realize the more time goes by, the more, um, you know, change happens to you as an individual and or the time period that you miss playing in. That's the part you can't recreate. I may be a hot take, but that's just the way I see it. I think that people are stuck with like the past, and I don't mean, like I said, I don't mean it's the game. They think it's the game is the problem, but it's realistically the time period that you played the game. Like, you're just not gonna get that same vibe. There's gonna be nothing like you being 16 years old again, no responsibilities, playing Black Ops 2 with your homies all night. Like, you could get a Black Ops 2 remastered and you might not even play with the same 10 people you played with back then. So that's a whole completely different experience.
Yeah, and then just speaking for me, it's like I'm more of a single player kind of gamer anyways, so usually multiplayer games are like not something that I like gravitate towards cuz one, I don't got the time for it. Two, it's always a case of like, okay, let's put it in the group chat, see how many people are going to get it. Okay, how many of those people are going to have like X amount of time to like actually play, what are our work schedules and stuff, and you got to like go ahead and maneuver that. So it's just like you said, it's a different time for me, so it doesn't fit like my cup of tea anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what people don't get. I think people are so they're so fathomed by the fact that they think the game is going to fix the problem, and it's not the game to me. Like I said, it's just the time period and part of your life that made that game special. And that's okay. Things come and go, times change, and that part of your life will always just be fun, but it's more than just the game of that part of your life that was fun. It was the time period or the era that you played that game in that made it fun.
I agree.
Okay, let's go ahead and hop into the Xbox One. I'm gonna go ahead and read some of the titles. I personally not an Xbox guy, so I don't know a lot of these games are gonna draw attention to me. But we'll go ahead and hop into the big three. We're getting Halo campaign involved, which is some sort of Halo, I think, campaign ish thingy. I don't know if it's multiplayer or anything like that. I don't know if this is a new Halo game. I think it's just campaign games comprised into one. Let me read more about it real quick, actually, and then we'll talk about the next one. Let's see. Halo Studios confirmed that Halo Campaign Evolved launches July 28, 2016, with up to 5 days of early access. Blah blah. It says the segment also debated new mission trailers, offering the first look at Operation Metrolite and three new missions, including with Halo Campaign Evolved. Okay, so yeah, I was right. This is more of a linear story mode based game, and it is recapping some of the most iconic missions from Halo for you to play. So if you're into the Halo campaign, this is really good for you. The next one was obviously Modern Warfare 4. Um, Hints that we're getting another Modern Warfare game next. Obviously, Treyarch just passed, so it's time for Modern Warfare. They showed some gameplay trailers. Obviously, they showed some new mechanics like they do every year. They're stepping back from the Omni movement. I think the big thing that they announced that everyone is kind of talking about, just because I watch competitive Call of Duty and I'm still kind of in the scene, even though I don't play the games anymore, is the remover of bloom. Um, for those of you who don't understand that, and the game mechanic just means that when you hip fire, there is no longer bullet spread on most guns. It is linear shooting, which makes it similar to a hit scan-ish game, which means that you can hip fire and or not ADS and have perfect shots accuracy when you shoot forward. Pretty much no bloom means no gun movement, so it is very much like Apex when you hip fire, just perfect accuracy. And on controller games, games without bloom are very, very niche. I mean, Halo has been really the only successful non-bloom game that people play because they love the hipfire and they love pulling up the singular scopes and having good accuracy. So yeah, there's the Modern Warfare, and then the biggest one I think from um, the gaming event thing that they showed, or this Xbox thing for me, the showcase was actually Gears of War E Day. I love Gears of War. That's probably like my favorite Xbox thing. And for this to be like a prequel to all the stuff that happened and all the iconic characters dying and stuff, and it's super cool to see like Dom and everyone back on the screen. And yes, it is a typical Gears game. Don't get it twisted. I don't know if you people are done with Gears or it's repetitive. I will actually say this game is very different. We're getting a overhaul to the movement. This is the first time ever that Gears of War will be more than co-op or more than two-player co-op. So you can still co-op couch play the campaign, but this time it is a four-man squad, and you are able to play the game or the campaign completely online as all four players controlled. You and your friends or whoever you're playing with will control all four of the main characters, and you guys can play the whole campaign for the first time ever as a four-man squad. I think they were saying something about if you play like in a four-man squad, like the difficulty can be adjusted or something. I didn't really watch that part. I was just stuck in the excitement of a Gears of War game looking new and changing movement and four-player co-op and still having the option to couch play up to two players. It is just something that was super exciting. I love Gears, so we'll see where that goes. And then the rest of the games that got announced, I'm just gonna read them in a list. We had Metro 2039, a new Fable, Minecraft Dungeons 2. We had Wulong 2, State of Decay 3, some Clockwork game, Spyro. I feel like that was a big announcement for those people who are nostalgic lovers. A new Spyro game is arguably probably going to be exciting. We had Doom Dark Ages Revelations. We had a Crazy Taxi remake. Elder Scrolls Online DLC, Where the Winds Meet DLCs, Persona 6 announcement, Age of Empires DLC, and then a few other smaller games that were on the main page right here. But that is obviously the Xbox stuff. We also announced that we're getting something for Baldur's Gate and Dogma stuff, but that's going to be later for the Nintendo release. They didn't really cover it on the Xbox stuff. But yeah, from that kind of stuff, did you see anything from the Xbox stuff that you were into, or was that not stuff you're into? Hello.
Okay, don't know what happened to the mic. I was just kind of talking in the wind, but
You're good.
yeah, it was some games. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Kind of like with Rayman. Also, was for Spyro. I think I remember playing like one Spyro game out of all of them, like back in the day, a lot. And then for Rayman, it was like I think also one, maybe like two of the games. But it's cool to see like those almost like cult classics, I guess you can call them, uh, getting a new revival kind of thing. Wukong, of course. I think I mentioned this before. I played the first chapter, but I never like got back into it because that's when like the laptop shit out, so I kind of had to like put that on pause. But um, even just that one chapter, I like really enjoyed it, and I do plan on going back to play it. So the second one is cool too. Um, Fable is one of those that I'm pretty sure I heard about like a while back. I could be again just thinking about something else, but yeah.
Oh, I think your mic messed up again.
Okay, don't know what's going on there. What
My
was the
bad.
last thing I said?
I hope it just cut out again.
Okay, don't know what's going on, but what?
Oh, shit, it happened again.
Okay, uh, I think we're good.
Yeah, you're back now.
Yes.
Yeah, I can hear you. The last
Okay.
thing you
All
said
right. Bet, bet, bet.
was the Wukong thing. That you hop back into it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for the second one because the first chapter was really good. So I do want to eventually get back onto the first one. So then, go on to the second one. Um, but yeah, for me, like Xbox, the only Xbox I've ever had was the Xbox. So like I never like really grew up with like Halo, but I know that's a really big thing
Yeah.
for the community. Doom is like I know it's just a DLC, but uh, my old supervisor, we're talking a little bit about like some of the games that we're excited for, and like he took a vacation day just for the release. So I know a lot of people got a lot of love for uh, the different things that got announced for the Xbox One.
Yeah, I mean that's the like I said, that's probably like the most important thing is that I love that this time of the year when game shows bring everyone together because no matter what kind of fan you are of games, it's just excitement all around and people can sit there and be excited for one another, which is super cool. But yeah, I think for me, I also am not like a huge Xbox person. I did have the 360 and I did play a lot of the Gears and stuff like that, but that mostly came from like, playing with family members who had Xboxes when I had PlayStation and then they made me want to get an Xbox as well just to play with them. So that's kind of like my little story for Xbox. But yeah, other than that, there's not many other games I'm excited for. Really, Gears of War was the only one that caught my attention. I am also not a huge Haloer, if that makes sense. I played more Gears than anything. So yeah, or I play like Call of Duty or Minecraft on Xbox. That's as far as my extent goes to games. But yeah, so we can go ahead and hop into the Nintendo thing, which is the last portion of the game show. This was the one that currently came out in the morning that we are recording the podcast. And I will go ahead and read the games real quick that got announced, which we got the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, arguably the GOAT of games. People love Zelda, especially this one, so it is getting remade to the Nintendo Switch 2. They just want your $70 so you can replay your favorite game. Not gonna cap. Um, Xenoblade Genesis. We had Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, which is, for those who don't know, an alternative a remake of the Sports Resorts from the actual Wii. Something cool we haven't gotten in a while. We are getting a first free update, paid DLC for Pokemon Poketopia, and I think there is a purchasable one. I'm not sure. I didn't read about it. I'll watch it all. But I know that a DLC is coming out regardless for Poketopia, which is the Animal Crossing Pokemon game that's going crazy. Might win Game of the Year type shit. Then we have Duskbloods, which is another announcement. Something for Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is an update to it, adding online and things to it. Some of the bigger ones, again, the Starbucks game that got announced a few podcasts ago that we said they showed more on that. We had Orbitals, we had Fire Emblem Fortune's Waves, we had Way of the Sword also got announced for a Switch port, which is really good for the game. Splatoon Raiders, Rhythm Heaven Groove, which I didn't see what that was, and then we have the last one was Dragon Quest Monsters. The Withered World, and then at the very end of the Nintendo thing, they also showed this during State of Play, but we got more on the Monster Hunter or another trailer for the new Monster Hunter game coming out, or DLC coming out for Monster Hunter Wilds and the next Switch port of Monster Hunter. So those were the big Nintendo announcements. Oh, and then the very last one actually I'm just going on here, which is arguably the biggest one besides Legends of Zelda Remake 19, um, which was Shinobi has a lot to do with this game, or he loves this game. But Kingdom Hearts 4, they showed the brand new game trailer and gameplay things for it. I don't know if this is new or if this is remake or not. I'm not a huge fan, but I know this was a big announcement. Regardless, it went kind of crazy. This is probably the most viewed gaming thing or a part of the event since God of War. I mean, the PlayStation State of Play thing shot up like fucking over 70K to 100K viewers when everyone realized that it was a God of War thing. And that's the same thing with Nintendo. Kingdom Hearts popped on the screen. It went viral right away, and the chat just exploded. So, um, I don't really have nothing excited for. I think if you play Switch games, I think this is a good time for you to probably start considering switching to the Switch 2. Like if you're a guy that plays a lot of Nintendo games, you might as well switch because a lot of these games are pretty much all made and catered to features that are only on the Switch 2 now. We all knew that it was going to take some time for Nintendo to be like, okay, like we want people to get off of Nintendo One. We're gonna stop supporting a lot of our stuff for Nintendo One. They haven't really. It's not called Nintendo One, but Nintendo Switch. They haven't really did that because they're still releasing some games on the Switch, but it just happens over time. Like right now with the PS5, they just stopped making games on PS4. Like PS4 is to the point where they don't even get some games now. And the more and more the time passes, the Switch will also do that. It sucks because some people are unfortunate enough that don't have the money to buy a brand new console, but like it's a business at the end of the day, and people are gonna just keep pushing you towards the next thing. So unfortunately, that's the scenario that we're in right now with a lot of these games. A lot of these are Switch 2 games. But like I said, if you are someone who loves Switch and you're still debating whether if you have the money or you're fortunate enough to get it, I would switch. I think Switch 2 is worth the investment if you already play your Switch a lot and you know you're gonna play these games because a lot of these games and the Switch 2 features looked amazing. Some of them look ported really well and don't even look like 60 FPS capped games. But yeah, that was an announcement for Nintendo. I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you want to talk about a specific thing, but if there's anything else that you wanted to highlight from this, you can go ahead and highlight some of those games now.
I mean, I don't even have a Switch 2, so like for me, this one was just like I can pass on it. Um, the Ocarina of Time one though, that's pretty cool because I've always wanted to play it, but like never played it, so now it's like good chance, but that's only if I get a Switch 2, which is the problem. But the Kingdom Hearts thing, I can guarantee you half of that or more than half of that, we've already seen it. Like I was because I said I watched the state of play and then the Summerfest one reactions. Dante was one of them, and he only uploaded like his reaction to the Kingdom Hearts one and then the Ocarina of Time. Literally like the last 5 minutes of the whole direct. But he also said it was like, is this the same trailer? Because I can guarantee I should have gone back and like looked at the initial like announcement for it, but I can. It's probably like 80% of it is the same thing. I think it was just them announcing like, "Yo, this is gonna be on the Switch too." I think people just got excited about it because Missing Link was supposed to come out, and then that ended up being scrapped. Don't know if they've officially said why, because they had I think alpha testers, beta testers. I don't know which one comes first, but they had people sign up for it and register. I think in the UK and in Asia to test it out, and this was like I want to say like half a year, almost like a year ago. Uh, so I mean, it's been a long time, and they had like gameplay footage of it too and stuff. It was supposed to be a mobile game, like if nobody was like really following that, but it was supposed to be a mobile game, kind of Pokemon Go-esque, where it's like that 3D modeling and stuff, and then you go up to like a Heartless, and then it's pretty much like an encounter, but just a separate battle with them, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like a Chain of Memories, where you like walk up to them, and then there's either one or like multiple ones that you gotta fight and stuff like that. But it was that, and then the big thing was it was the Missing Link. So it was everything like in between of what happened from 3 to 4, introducing the characters that were in the trailer, things like that, and I think that was it. I think it was gonna be like more of Riku's side of like his perspective and stuff like that, while Sora was in the new world, like the one that's in the trailer, kind of thing. Um, but I think they did say that they were implementing all that in a way to 4, or they were gonna release something before 4 that was gonna, you know, fill us all in. I know they're trying to do. I can't. I don't remember if it was like a movie or like a DLC kind of thing or like expansion with 2.8. I don't know if anybody ever played 2.8. I'm definitely nerding out, so if people get lost, like it is what it is. We've been following this shit for years, but
Yeah.
2.8 was kind of like a 3 or 4 hour long game of Aqua's perspective and like what she went through in the darkness, just to give you like a fill in on what happened like during that time. Um, so I don't know if they were planning on doing that or kind of just like releasing all the cutscenes in like a super like cut movie kind of with um, I think it was Recoded and then 365 Days Over 2. They did that when they released like the 1.5 and the 2.5 versions. So I don't know if they were gonna do that to like fill everybody in, but I think that was like their plan. I think people are just excited to hear that it's like still being worked on actively. Miggy has extremely high hopes that it's gonna drop in November. Don't see that happening. It's definitely gonna be a handful of more years, I think, which is good because I mean they're trying to implement more ways that you can like interact with the combat, and supposedly they're trying to do like an auto party swap where you can auto swap members like mid battle and stuff like that. So uh, just a bunch of stuff. But yeah, that I mean, it's the same thing. I'm pretty sure that we saw in the initial trailer from the new trailer. I think the only new thing that I don't even think they announced it. Oh no, no, yeah, they did because it was right before they announced or they talked about KH4 is the collection. They're dropping all of 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, and 3 with the DLC in like a collector's bundle kind of thing
Yeah.
for Switch 2 and PS5. I don't think they announced it for Xbox. I could be tripping. But that was like the only new thing. And that drops in October. So pretty soon.
Yeah, exciting stuff if you're big fans of Kingdom Heart. I have no idea about the trailer thing, if it's old or new. I do know that I think this is the first time that they showed actual in-game gameplay of the combat. I don't know if that's been shown or not. I know that that was something they highlighted that I sent to you. I think that that was something they showed during the Nintendo thing. I don't know if it was a first time thing or not. I think the biggest head scratcher to all this situation is why this game was announced during the Nintendo thing. I feel like that had everyone scratching their head. I feel like this is more of like a Sony game. Um, I don't mind it. For those of you who are interested, he is right. Square Inc., which is the company who makes this, did announce. They didn't show it during the Nintendo thing. They only showed it that it was on the Switch too, but it will be on the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC via Steam, Epic Games, and or Microsoft. So three separate launchers. Plenty of access ways to get to the game. There is no current release date. Like I said, if you're interested in seeing the trailer, if you haven't seen it, check out IGN or any. Just look up, Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer. It just dropped today. As you're watching this, it's out. If hopefully, well, we upload this Friday, so it'll be 2 days after or 3 days after, but you'll have plenty of time to have seen it. And like I said, they showed gameplay. I have no idea if that is new or not. I also don't know that. I just know that gameplay was shown. So we got to see some gameplay with Sora and some of the new combat and things that they're adding. I'm pretty sure that it was a dev talk. I was at work, so I didn't watch it all, but I know I think it was a dev talk. So they'll probably talk more about the game and things you can do in the game that they probably talked about during the Nintendo showcase. But other than that, that is most of the games that got announced, or all the games that got announced at the show. Some spare games got announced outside of this. We got an announcement, like I said, for the League of Legends character that they didn't really highlight. We got Stellar Blade Blood Rain, which I know Shinobi played the first Stellar Blade. This is a sequel to that game. Huge, huge thing that wasn't in any of the shows. Glad to see that it got another game. The first one was very successful. Um, Other than that, if you guys check out IGN, there was a couple other indie games that got announced. Some games are getting big updates. Big updates just recently passed. Like we just recently got the Diablo update, the World of Warcraft update. you know, games are, dropping. Some big ones have already dropped recently. So a lot of stuff's coming out. Like I said, till end of the year, till end of the year, and summer is always the best time to get into games because we get all the announcements for early games next year, and we get all the big DLCs and things going on in gaming throughout the rest of the year up until from now until Christmas is going to be really exciting with a lot of games either dropping and or being announced. Um, yeah, so you know, we're here to hopefully highlight a bunch of things for you guys in the pod. I think that this is a good end to the pod. We talked about a majority of the shows. We will keep you guys updated on more gaming stuff when we get news. Other than that, the big thing that happened today, currently, right now, Destiny 2 had its server slam. Obviously, people want Destiny 3. In the last podcast, we announced that a lot of people were sad that it's ending. Bungie turned around and made, or the devs for Destiny that work for Bungie made this huge final goodbye update, fixing a lot of problems that people were complaining about the whole time, and finally made it a fruition to come true. And they made a bunch of changes, redoing a lot of the content, adding ads. There's just so much being. There was over. There's so much changing to the game as of right now, and today, like I said, the server got slammed. It is still slammed right now. It is currently about to be 3 p.m. our time where we live in. Right now, it has 167,000 people just on Steam currently active on the game. We cannot see console numbers. There is no way to see console, and everyone knows that Destiny is a Bungie in general is a console game. So I'm assuming if to be safe, you want to just assume that console has around 167,000 people as well, and just add that up. So we are looking at somewhere close to like 400, 500K or some shit of active players. And I don't know whether this is going to save Bungie or not. I don't know if this is going to hurt Marathon more or not. The war between Marathon and Destiny 2 has been going on these last couple of weeks. But either way, I just hope that Bungie knows that there's people who support their game, and possibly there's a way that these developers or the Sony executives can pull their head out of their asses and save Bungie, because I think Bungie is a well-deserved game developer that doesn't deserve to be shelved. I think there's more to be done. I think Marathon has a chance to grow, it should grow, and Destiny is just a title that I don't think people are ready to let go of. So I'll let Shinobi talk about that, and then we'll go ahead and end it here.
I mean, I wasn't like ever like into Destiny like that, but it's cool to see uh,
The
people go
community,
back
yeah.
and still show us some love. It kind of reminds me. I can't remember what game it was. I want to say Final Fantasy for some reason, but I that's probably like horribly wrong. But it was this game where it was like an MMO kind of thing, and they were like slowly not putting out like updates anymore. Pretty much people knew like, okay, this is gonna end pretty soon, but they stayed on the servers until like the very like last minute, and then I think it was only like a couple thousand, maybe like 1,000 people that were still on it. And then as soon as the clock hit zero, because there was like a world timer that they put up, as soon as it hit zero, like everything went black, and then there was a trailer for like a sequel to it, and everybody was like going crazy and stuff. And it was really cool because the devs, I think they either put something related to like the last people that were still logged in into that game, or the sequel. I can't remember which one it was, but kind of reminded me of that. But gamers will show love if they still love the game.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part. Whether you, like you said, like you don't play Destiny a lot, but I think to see a community come together to save a game is amazing. It's happened with other games. Um, I don't know the specific game you're telling the story about. I think for me, the last one that happened was the Amazon game. What was it called? Dude, it was an MMO as well. New World. New World. Got announced that Amazon was going to stop supporting the game, and the last like month of the game, I think it's still playable right now, but I know for like a few weeks, like so many people logged back on. It was like hundreds of thousands of people logged back on to play the game that they knew they were no longer going to get updates from. So it's just glad to see the community back. I'm glad to see Destiny is thriving, and I think with these updates, it gives us a few months of content. I have no idea how long everything's gonna last, what the landscape is gonna look like 6 months from now. But if anything, like I said, I'd rather just see Bungie be in a successful place to be able to create the next title, because Bungie, I think, is just a unique developer. At this point, I trust Bungie to make good games, and I would love to see what they can do, even if it's not a Destiny game. Like, give them a chance to make another arena shooter or something that's not an extraction shooter as well. Bungie just has great gunplay, and they're a really good game dev. So I just want to see where everything goes. But yeah, other than that, it has been your boy Drift and Shinobi here with the Overnights podcast. I know we kind of went through the game shows a little fast. If you guys want us to maybe do another episode about all the stuff that just passed, where we're taking a little bit of a deeper dive, looking at some trailers and stuff, and or like ranking our top 5 games from all the announcements and stuff, we'll do that. We can always expand more on another episode. So just let us know in the comments below. If you guys made it this far, make sure you guys, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, turn on bell notifications. Night Shift is always open for applications, so come ahead and join. And like I said, if you were made it this far, you should also drop a game that you were most excited for, whether it be a Sony game, Nintendo game, PC game, Xbox game, or any game that got announced, or maybe a game that you plan on playing on multiple platforms, etc. Just any game that you were excited for, or a game that got announced that we missed. Because, like I told Shinobi before the podcast started, I know that there was a few games that got released, trailers got released before these shows started, because they didn't think that they, one, probably couldn't afford to have their game advertised during these shows because it's a shit ton of money to do that, and or they just didn't have a unique sponsorship or deal with any console exclusively, so they just released their game trailers organically. But other than that, yeah, I'm gonna let him do his outro, and yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If there's a specific game that y'all got like super excited for and like is like really worth checking out and you feel like it's underrated, let us know.
Yep. Other than that, like I said, all links will be in the description below, and peace.